He was saying, you know, is it just the artist has been picked and they're just putting a piece of art in there because they want to put the piece of art in there?
As Paul said, I think it'd be great to be involved from day one.
They need to audit their volunteer skills, and they need to know what they've got in their range of volunteers.
Why it's not beautiful sometimes. It's okay that it isn't these things. That's not always what contemporary art is about.
I suppose we are almost artists because we use our skills to bring things to life by words.
Yeah.
So that is a form of contemporary art.
Well, my name is Paul Tate. I'm a guide on Hadrian's Wall corridor, primarily doing stuff for National Trust. What I do on a day-to-day basis are things like 4 tours around the Roman site and historical walks in or around north and south and along Hadrian's Wall. I've been doing that for about 8 years now. I retired when I was 55, decided to get out of the world of banking and then got bored pretty quickly. So I had an opportunity to train as a guide with some funding from the lottery, so I did that and then did lots and lots of stuff for the various sites on the wall. Apart from visiting Tate Modern in London once and coming to places like the Baltic here, when it opened, that's probably just about my only context and linkage to contemporary art, because on Hadrian's Wall, very little, although there has been 1 or 2 exhibitions on the wall. 3 years ago there was a Hadrian's Wall, Hadrian's Carol, and there was a couple of things on a couple of the sites which were there. But as somebody who tends to talk about the history and the people of the sites, I didn't really get particularly involved on that. Yeah, we've had discussions about whether it should have a different name or a different version, because the word contemporary art tends to indicate something a bit sort of left-wing, really, something which is not traditional, and I think a lot of people, not just me, would probably struggle to understand the concept sometimes. And yet when you listen to the artists themselves and why they're doing it, it makes sense, but that's not always communicated to a volunteer, and I suspect to some visitors as well. The sort of people that I work with on Hadrian's Wall, I suspect 1 or 2 of them may well be into contemporary art, but a lot of them are probably like me, and they're really the outdoor people who would be, you know, I'm hoping to have the courage and the ability and the confidence to convert them, to really get them to come on board if we do have some sort of exhibitions on Hadrian's Wall. Well, we're at Newcastle University today. We've been meeting 3 different artists, completely contrasting artists, really.
That's my nice place. Please come on in. At the center is basically, there's no sun.
The first artist was very much hands-on, Wolfgang. He's a skilled craftsman where he's reconstituting a lot of woodwork from old churches, pews, etc., and making this impressionistic building which is based on sort of Far Eastern cultures, really. I think it's heading down to somewhere in Brighton, so he was incredibly interesting.
They're in special viewers, so they weren't just in that.
And then the next lady was very much an individual. The main thing I got from her was that she doesn't like formal places. She doesn't like to put exhibitions on. She really was very much a case of, you know, she likes to do things in the community and out in local shows, etc.
As a site-specific installationist, I don't sit in here and make work. Most of the time I'm not kind of going, oh, I'll make that piece of work and now I'll find somewhere to put it. I actually want to find the site first, do a lot of research about the site, that gives me inspiration to make the work.
And what was quite interesting, she was completely honest when she was saying she doesn't like all contemporary art. There's lots of contemporary art that she doesn't like, which made me feel a bit better, because I have to admit, when we were at Baltic last week, I did look at all the exhibitions there, and most of them I liked, but there was one exhibition which I didn't like, and I just could not really get my head around whatsoever. So, and I sort of thought, well, am I missing something? But it makes you realise that in this world, it's down to personal taste, and that just wasn't for me.
Communities of people who definitely wouldn't call themselves artists and wouldn't think of themselves as in the traditional art world.
And then Lady Kit at the end is an individual who doesn't really produce art, it's more the social aspects of art and how it brings communities together. And really that's something which opened my eyes up, because really when you think of the word social art, up until now, until we've actually gone through the process that we have on these meetings, I wouldn't have had a clue what that meant, but now I really get a clear understanding that it is all about bringing people together and having the interaction with each other, and people hopefully enjoying themselves. And also it's interesting how much resistance that got from some communities, and quite serious resistance as well from some local communities when this sort of thing was happening. And I think with what's been going on with COVID and all the world that we've been in for the last sort of 18 months, social art really could be a fantastic way of bringing people together and moving things forward.
And when you put it in that context, you just sort of go, oh, well, yeah, contemporary art is just current artists.
But when you met the man and understood what his ideas of the recycled church pews, it brought the whole thing to life, which then engendered in me something that I wanted to know more about. And if I've got that, then I pass it on to anybody else.
I think he would have to make sure that volunteers know that it's all right not to like
I think that's
and personally engage with an installation.
Well, as I originally documented, I had little or no knowledge of contemporary art before I came along on this course, and it has truly enlightened me, the amount of skill and the imagination that these artists have. And I'm a lot more positive now about promoting contemporary art and really getting other volunteers to have the same mindset, really. Get us involved at the early planning stages of an exhibition that's coming in, because I think too often it's left too late in the day, and sometimes it falls flat a little bit from there. If you just say, here's this exhibition, and this artist is so-and-so, and this is what it is, and try and explain it to them, I think a lot of people will just not really buy into it.
If there's an installation coming, what do I need? And I need clear communication well in advance.
If somebody's coming to a site to actually talk about what they're thinking of doing, I think it's absolutely critical that there's at least one, or possibly more than one of the local volunteers who are going to be really promoting this exhibition when it happens, to get them on board and point out any potential pitfalls that might be happening, and perhaps even give them some ideas, because these people are incredibly knowledgeable. The exhibition might be slightly improved, but more importantly, when people are chatting to people about the exhibition, I think they're going to be a lot more aware of what the artist was trying to get across, and understand and really promote the thing on a positive manner.
It has to be done face to face. It's important that the resistance that people offer to contemporary art and is that instant thing, like I don't know opera, and instantly I'll switch off if someone's talking about opera. So you need to look at body language and people and be sensitive to all that.
All of the volunteers have got the skill to approach people and chat to people, because that's what they do. What we now need to do is to make sure that at this early stage that we allow people to really understand, what he's what he or she wants to do. And I think that's why it's so important, rather than, I think what's happened in the past is leaving it to the last minute and then a quick chat about what it is, and nobody really understands what the exhibition is about, etc., etc. So that's certainly the way I feel about the early influence of the volunteers on these particular exhibitions. It's been something which I wasn't entirely sure about when I first came, but as time's gone on, I've really grown into it and thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing. And I think going forward from here, I think my challenge will be to liaise with management on Hadrian's Wall to try and get them to make sure that if there are new exhibitions coming onto the wall, that we really get people on board as to what the artist's trying to get across with this exhibition. But overall, I'm really thoroughly enjoyed it and have a really much more positive attitude towards the art that these people produce, and admiration, and as much as anything else really. So thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you very much.